All right. Hi everyone. My name is Icebone, and this is my first video on Football Manager 2019. It's a game I really like. I've played tons of the previous editions as well. I've spent already a couple hundred hours on this edition as well, mostly on this one save, which is a save with the Palermo Football Club in starts originally in Serie B, second tier of Italian football. As you can see, I'm in 2023, so already 5 seasons in. It's the beginning of the sixth season. And I just wanted to share a little about my save, what's been going on, a quick presentation of the team and of the save to get other people to try it out. I've already been pretty active on the Football Manager subreddit to recommend that save, and I just wanted to exemplify it. All right. It's my first video, so please feel free to give any comments. I'll post it on the subreddit as well, so give your comments there. All right. Let's dive in. So it's 2023, beginning of sixth season. Palermo originally, let's go to the informations, I think. So yeah, Palermo is originally a club in the second division of Italian football. It starts with a pretty good team, I would say, because you're favored to win the second division the first year. So it's actually not that difficult to do. As you can see in the history, Palermo has been a club that's been pretty successful in the past. It was usually pretty competitive all around. Oh, let me switch that to English. Actually, that'll be better. So yeah, I'm French in case you didn't guess. All right. So yeah, so Palermo is a club that's been pretty successful in the past. It's actually never won the Serie A, I think, but it's been a pretty competitive club in the 2000s. It fell down to Serie A in 2012, but came back up right after, and then fell back down again in 2016. And that's when you start here. After if there was a season where they finished fourth, they missed out on promotion, and that's where you start. So as you can see, I've won the Serie B the first season around, and then it was getting back up in Serie A and becoming more competitive. So the club originally starts with a rather good team, your favorite to win the league, as I've said. It starts also with pretty good young prospects, and that's actually the key and what made the save most entertaining to me. Is that you have really high potential in your youth team, and the goal is to bring it back up, because your first team is quite good for Serie B, but not good enough for Serie A. Unfortunately, it's aging people as well. So you need to develop the potential you have in your youth team, and you'll see I still have in my first team 6 seasons in people that were there from the start, and that I just developed and made into really top players of Italian Championship. Finance-wise, you start with a rather, I won't say rough situation, but not an easy one. As you can see, the first season, even though I won the Serie B, I finished in deficit. I didn't do many transfers, so you really have to get promotion the first year around, otherwise it can get pretty rough. But again, you have so much talent, it shouldn't be that difficult. And then it's been smooth sailing, I would say. It's been pretty constant. I've done a few transfers. I've been able to sell also my older players to clubs as the years passed. So yeah, finance-wise, as long as you win the first season promotion already, you should be fine. Yeah, what I wanted to show again. Yeah, so let's talk a bit about the transfers. I know, yeah, about the infrastructures. So, well, now you can see I have state-of-the-art training facilities and youth facilities. Rich as well, okay. But you start with already very good installation facilities. Actually, you start with 3.5 training facilities and maybe 3 or 3.5 youth facilities. So you already have very good facilities to develop the youth team. Actually, I think I've been pretty unlucky because the regions I've got, even though I have great facilities and already good youth recruitment, I haven't had like wonder kids come up my youth ranks, and that was a bit disappointing. I've had some good players that I've been able to develop or to sell, but the most of the good players I have now in my first team, they were there from the start, and they're not regions from my club or the region from other clubs. All right. So what else? Yeah, let's talk about a bit the transfers. So sorry. Yeah, in out. Oh, I want the transfer history. Yeah, that's there. All right. Can we go back to the first season? Yeah. Okay. So I won't go through all the transfers, but just to show a little bit what you're able to do. So the first season when I joined, I didn't do any big transfers. As you can see, I just mostly loaned out uh, youth. Younger players. I've been selling some dead weight to get some money. So like Bellucci or Fiordilino are okay player, but I just wanted the money. One player that's interesting though that we'll look at is Leroy Abenda. He's from Monaco when the game starts. I'll click on him now. You can see now he's very good. He's 23. I've loaned him in the first 2 seasons, and then I've been finally able to transfer him definitely, and he's a very good left back. All right, so that was the first season. Second season, a few players came in for 3 million. Fossati was a center mid that came on a free, and I've been able to sell a couple years later. He carried us the first few seasons in Serie A. He was very solid all around. Roberto Insigne, Lorenzo's brother, was in as well. But a player that was most interesting is Ranocchia here. So I think he starts the game as well in Perugia. He's a very good defensive midfielder, 3-star potential now, 3-star ability now. He comes in with a really high potential. I don't think I've been able to realize it fully, but now he's valued at 8.5 million, and he's been a very good player in my save. He's still in my first team. The other were not so successful. I had a very good left back here, but unfortunately he after one season he got poached. I didn't up his transfer clause high enough, so he got poached. As you see, so this is the first season where we were in Serie A, and I just got rid of a lot of the players I didn't think were good enough to stay. I wanted to develop the youth team. I kept some of the younger players, but some of the older players, sorry, but yeah, I got rid of most of the dead weight. Well, what else? I was also, my goalkeeper here, Alberto Brignoli, got sold to Inter. They came in with a not an amazing offer, but it was above his release clause. He got poached, so that was a bummer. But I've been able to get him back a few years later. All right, moving on faster. Third season. A few nice recruits. Oh yeah, let me talk about something that's annoying about managing in an Italian championship is that you have limitation on the transfers you can do about non-EU players. So, for example, Brazilians, Argentinians, Colombian, even English people at some point, when Brexit happens, you cannot get them into your team. There's a limitation. You cannot get them into your team except if you transfer out another player that's also non-EU, or you can get, I think the rule is very complicated. You can get a new one every season, basically, but that's pretty much it. And as you can see, I wasn't fully aware of this. So I went ahead and got Aguirre here, an Uruguayan that was my striker. And it was supposed to be a second choice striker. I wanted Joe Linton, who has a high potential at the start of the game, to be my first choice striker. But the thing is, he's Brazilian, Aguirre is Uruguayan, and I got also Nicolas Benedetti here. I was using an advanced midfielder at the time, and he's Colombian. So three South American players. The thing is, I was only allowed to add one or two to my team, and I don't know what decides which player gets put in. You're not prompt with a choice or anything. And the thing is, I think Joelinton came last. I mean, it shows here they arrived at the same time, but I guess Joelinton arrived last. And I wasn't able to play him in my team the first season he came in. So what I had to do was very unfortunate. I had to loan him back to Offenheim for a full season, where I got pretty unhappy, pretty shit. Yeah, if we go to his history, yeah, so I bought him for 2.2 million, loaned him again to Offenheim, and yeah, he like scored 4 goals in 20 games, 6.6. That wasn't great. So then I got him and played him 2 seasons, but he wasn't. He never got to his full potential. So yeah, if you're gonna manage in an Italian championship, be careful with the rule on non-EU players. Just one more thing about this season, I bought a very good central defender, Evan Ndika, which is in real life football, a very hot prospect as well. He's not 24, but when I bought him, he was 20, I think. And yeah, he came in for a season from Augsburg. From Leipzig. Sorry, came in for a season. Was amazing. Was the best defender I had. He played all the games. Averaged 7.1. So that's amazing. But then Bordeaux came in the next season and bought him for 6.5 million. So yeah, that was also above his release clause. Unfortunately, the agent wouldn't let me have a higher clause, so I never was able to keep him. So that was annoying. In the meantime, still a ton of people going out on loan, a ton of youth people. At the beginning, I just tried to keep them all in. They were on contract, so I just wanted to see who was going to develop the best. As the seasons pass, you'll see I have less and less player that I kept, and I just let the contract run out if they were not good. One last thing, Ilya Nestorovsky is the striker you start with in Serie B. He was pretty good at the time. In the first season, he scored 19 goals, 7.17 average. So that was good. In Serie A, unfortunately, wasn't as good. So as soon as I would say a correct offer came in from Leganes here, I just decided to let him go. He was also getting old now. He's 33, but he was 29 when I transferred him now. Oh yeah, one more thing about Palermo, which is amazing, is that most or like almost all players have a high determination at the start of the game. So that's really useful to, well, first keep your players engaged on the field, and they really even if they're down or even if they have a loose streak, they they are not as pissed or as stressed or as useless as other players would be. But that also helps in developing the younger players that you have in your team, because you just make partnerships with high determination players, and all of a sudden their determination shoots right up. They get amazing personalities as well. So yeah, developing young players in this club is really I wouldn't say easy, but almost. And you get great players in the end. All right, fourth season now. And that's where things starts getting interesting. So let's go back up to the history of in the league. Let's go to the overview. All right, so first season, after coming up from Serie B, I managed to squeeze in a 10th place. That was like in the last day. I was like 13 or 14 and ended up placing 10th. So that was great. Third season in the game, second in Serie A, I finished 10th again. A bit disappointing. I was like 8 or 9, but in the end, a couple bad results and finished 10th. That didn't really matter. The most frustrating season, I would say, was the third. Sorry for that. The third season in Serie A. So that's the one we're gonna look at the transfers. Then was the most frustrating one, I would say. We finished 8th. So we had a great team. I was able to spend a lot of money actually after being stable in top tier, and all of these players basically are either still in my first team or got sold for high transfer fee. So without showing all the players, let's see. I got Brignoli, the goalkeeper, at the start back. I finally was able to transfer Leroy Abenda, I've already talked about. And then I got this amazing regen from Germany, Patrick Platzek, who's still my right back, 4-star ability and still developing. He's only 19. I was able to get this left winger, who was 17 at the time. He was my second choice right behind this guy, who's great. As you can see, he's not anymore playing for Palermo, unfortunately. He got sold. He got poached by Fiorentina. I thought he went to Genoa first. By Fiorentina for 20 million. So nice bonus there. But I would have liked to keep him. He was amazing. This guy wasn't the best. He was just a backup. But this guy who I got on a free, he's now 4-star ability. He's defensive, but can also play central midfielder. He's an English player, but I got him on a free. He's valued at 5.5 now, and he's in my first team. And the last one was Nyakate. You remember we got Evan Ndika the season before from Red Bull Leipzig. Great central defender, poached by Bordeaux the next season. Okay, so I go back, find this guy, transfer him for 2.6 million. Has a great season for us, 7.1 average. Season and a half maybe season, and after only four games in the second season he was with us. Guess who comes in? Bordeaux, 8.5 million, another offer, and that's it. He goes away. So I was pretty pissed that I lost two very good central defenders who were at the time. I mean, Ndika was 21 when I got him. He was 25 when I got him. They would have had a great partnership, but Bordeaux got them both. I wasn't able to keep them, unfortunately. I have good players now in defense, but that was a setback. Just a few more things maybe to discuss in the people went out. This guy never made it in my team, but at least he went away in for a good fee. Same for Szyminski, who's a good player when you start the game. You can have a few good years with him. I think he was a very, very solid player. Balog also, he's a left winger who's on loan the first season, but then I was able to play him, and he was solid when he was there, but he was just not developing fast enough. He didn't have the highest potential, so good offer for him. I just let him go, and he's still having a good career. And Mazan, so the left back who got sold, unfortunately. Okay, let's go to the fifth. So yeah, despite all those amazing recruits, we only finished 8th that season, which was disappointing. We missed out even on Europa League, so that was sad. I think maybe my team was a bit too young, so we dropped points when we shouldn't have. So. And also we got very unlucky in a lot of games where we had like we're the best teams in terms of chances, of possession, etc. But just like drew 0-0, 1-0. That was sad. But then finally, and that was last season, 5th season in the game, the 4th one in top tier, and we get a few more great recruits. Basically, I'm very fond of young players that I can develop. So I got this guy, second choice for right back. He was 18 when he came in. Still has a great potential ability. I got this guy who's supposed to become a good striker, but is not developing that fast. I mean, he's pretty good, but he hasn't had the highest impact in my team yet. Segla was also a good player, and he's still a good player, and still my first choice in left wing. 19, as you can see, very, very young players. Potential ability, great. Didn't have the best season, but was pretty good. Stelio Junior here, Mozambican, very young, great ability. Taking a spot of the non-EU player, so that's not ideal. And then I transferred 2 central defenders, and finally was able to keep hold of him. So this guy for maybe 20 million, Boubacar Kamara, he's very good, still quite young, won't develop that much more, but he's a good player, and he forms a good partnership with another French player. I have almost a fully French defense. It's this guy who came in from Angers, actually. Had a good season. So yeah, they're pretty good players, and you'll see I have a younger player from the academy that. Rotate with these guys. The other recruits are I would say future stars, but this guy, he's now my star apparently, my key player, Mogens Iversen. He's a regen. He's a central midfielder that I play as Mezzala, and yeah. He's there's nothing more to say than show these stats. Very, very strong player, valued at 16.5 million. He had a great season last year and is already starting strong. So yeah, a very good recruit from Denmark. The people that went away don't really matter or were dead weight. We had 2 big, a few big sell. So Fossati, who I showed before, carried us a few years, but then he even became the captain. But at some point was not good enough, so he went away. Salcedo, which I wanted to keep, got sold for 20 million. Nyakate to Bordeaux again. And the last one, and I'll transition to show you a bit about the younger players which I've kept from the beginning. It was Ruggiero. And Ruggiero, he's a central midfielder, defensive midfielder. He's good. He was a good player, but the thing is, I had too many good players who could play defensive midfielder or central midfielder. So I had to make some choices. He was the oldest one, even though he's still only 23, and who had the lowest potential, I would say, even though it was quite high. So yeah, I think Lazio came in with a good offer of 8 million. I just let him go. He was in our team for a season. He was good, but it wasn't amazing. So I just decided to let him go. All right, so that was last season, and last season we finally were able to compete with the top dogs, and finished third. We had a good season. If we look at last season, we had a good season. Where is it? Stages, yeah. I mean, Juventus is obviously almost unbeatable, but we could have finished second ahead of Lazio. We could also have finished lower if Inter didn't crumble in the end. So third was a very good result for us. Obviously, got us into Champions League. I don't have the highest expectation in Champions League. Just I don't have the highest expectations in the Champions League just yet because it's still our first season, and the team is pretty young. But as it turns out, we started pretty okay this year with where's the calendar? Yeah. So we started pretty okay with a good win over Shakhtar here, 3-0, and another good draw with Madrid. So the last team in our group is Bayer Leverkusen. So we'll see what happens. Last thing to say about the transfer was this season. Now this current season, not the biggest season in terms of transfer. I think I have a pretty good team now with young players that I want to focus on. I don't need many more additions, so it's just basically replacing people who I sell or just getting more backups. So we have this guy who's going to be a backup in central midfield. He has a great potential. This guy also, which I've loaned immediately. This guy, he's 20. He's gonna be also a star at Mezzala. We got a good backup goalkeeper to rotate with my first choice. We got the thing we're missing most since the start of the game is a great striker. I was trying to sign one. I didn't find one, which I wanted for the budget, which is still about 20-30 million. So you don't get a top striker for that price. So I loaned this guy from Milan, and he's been having a good start to the season with us so far. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Did we sell some players for high amounts? Yeah, not really, except some players that I had good expectations for, but never transitioned quickly enough. Last thing I want to show in this video is the youth team, the younger players that I started with and I've kept through. So I'm going to go to my squad here. First, I just want to show you basically if I order by age. Yeah, as you can see, everyone almost is under 24. And there's like the goalkeeper who's 32 and Shoshev who's been here since the start, who's 30 and who has a great impact on the team. But basically everyone else is under 24. So that's when I say a young group of players, I really mean it. So if we look at the tactics, I've been playing this tactic basically since the start of the save. I don't pay attention to the player that I've chosen here. They're not necessarily the first choice because it's now an international break. I just played friendly. But it's a four. They call it 4-3-3. I like to call it more like a 4-3-2-1, with wingbacks, a ball-playing defender and a central defender, a regista at defensive midfielder, and then a partnership with a mezzala and a box-to-box midfielder, two inside forwards. I've tried wingers, but they were not as effective. I never got a great striker as well, so I figured having talented players inside forward would be better in the long term, and a deep lying forward. So that gets us a pretty fluid system. I usually play unbalanced, and yeah, I have a lot of position in most of the games. I'm able to these are the I play mostly through the middle. It's a vertical tiki taka as they call it. I get really really high position scores. So yeah, just to show a little bit about the younger players that I've kept since the beginning. The first player I immediately got from my reserves, my under 20s, and put in the first team, even in the first season in Serie B, was Ivan De Stefano. He's now 22. He started 17. Well, obviously now he isn't like the best or the hottest prospect because there's been better players that have come that have joined since. But he's been with us since the start. Never loaned him out. Played most of the games. He was rotating a few seasons, but last 2 seasons you see he was first choice. He had an amazing season there. He's been a very good player. Never amazing, but never disappointing either. So yeah, that's one I started with from the beginning and never let go. Another good player you get from the beginning is Marco da Graca here. As you see, he's even higher ability and he could go even higher. At the beginning, I loaned him a few seasons. He had pretty awful loan spells, unfortunately. Maybe it's because Spal was really shit and playing for relegation every year, so I don't know. He had one good season with us here, but then it's been pretty meh last season. So on paper, he looks like an amazing player, but he's not. Yeah, he's valued at 4.7, and now that I'm playing Champions League, he's not quite the level I need to play that. So that's why I got another striker. Who else do we get? So we have Santoro here, who I got from the beginning as well. I loaned him a few seasons because he started with a pretty low potential, but since I stopped loaning him, he had a great season with us last year, and I think he's going to be our box-to-box midfielder for the years to come. Maybe not for so many years because he's 24, but and won't develop that much further. But he's like a brand player. Who else do we get? We get Angeli also from the start, who can play mostly central defender. Again, pretty good players. 3-star current ability. 22 now. He was our top choice a few seasons back. He's rotating now with the 2 French central defender I signed last year. He's been all right. Again, not the best player ever, but he's been pretty good considering that you start with him. So yeah. Who else do we get? We get also 2 central defender, but no, another central defender here is Enrico Bozzi. I don't think I've loaned him. Yeah, I think I've kept him since the start. Even played him in the first team when we got to Serie A quite a lot. You see, he's been okay. The he had 5-star potential. But the thing is, yeah, a 5 determination and unambitious, and that's really the bummer for this player who could have been much better, I think, with higher determination. So that was a bit sad. Never, yeah. I don't know if it's actually impossible to get rid of the unambitious personality traits, but even pairing him with higher determination players, never was able to get rid of this, and he I don't know if I can say never. He's only 20, but I don't know if he'll ever be like a top player. Um, I think we're almost done. Yeah, we have a good goalkeeper who came in. Yeah, the first season I was here. I've loaned him. He didn't play, except the last season in Provercelli, where it was good. He has a high potential ability. He just didn't get any time in the first team yet. So we'll see. Maybe this year that will change. I think I've also loaned a few players because there's one last one. Yeah, there's one last one that. Yeah, it's Buongarzoni. Buongarzoni. So this guy is also another player you start with from the beginning. Um, he played a couple games for us that season and was our second choice last season, where I wanted to give him more game time. He won't be amazing. He will not ever be amazing. But again, as you can see, starting from the academy for the first few seasons when you're in Serie A, he's an alright player. So yeah, you just start with him and you can just play him, and it helps you transition into a better team. Garofalo is another player, but it's not as great. And I think we're done. Yeah. Yeah. So that was my presentation. I don't know if you can call it a presentation because it's already 5 seasons in, but I just wanted to discuss a bit about why I think this save is very entertaining, why I think it's a very good club to manage, and that's mostly due to the fact that your favorites to win the second division when you come in, you have good, all right, young players, very young players from the start that you can play in Serie A while you're building your club. And you have high determination, so developing players is pretty easy to do. The biggest thing I would say you need to pay attention when you play in Italy is, you can see here, this non-EU rule, which is really a pain if you're gonna want to sign all the South American regions you find. Well, you just can't do that in Italy, or you just won't be able to play them right away. So that's something to take into account. All right, I maybe will be streaming some Football Managers sometimes. So check out my channel on Twitch. I'll link it in the description, but it's twitch.tv icebone the second. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hit me up in the comments or on Reddit. Thank you. Bye.